Come on. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Alright, day 10. So here's the front end. Yesterday I cleaned it up really nice, degreased it, dried it, and then I painted it. It'll match the chassis, which I have pulled into my bay here. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to be doing is I need to put the rear on top of the leaf springs, which means I need to get some metal and make different mounts, because if I just do it that way, it won't work, because I didn't realize it before, but somebody told me that the mounts are welded on the rear. I assumed that it was all together, like a mount here and a mount here, but no, that's welded, and I did not know that. So what I'm going to have to do is get metal, make that bracket, but for the bottom of the rear. That way when I put the rear above the leaf springs, I can just reverse that, the U-bolts assembly. So that'll bring the ride height down. Plus, I still have the Bronco 2 tall wheels that my dad had on the truck. So when I change the wheels, it'll lower it a couple more inches too, because these things are super tall. So that should bring the rear down a lot. If not, I can make changes to the body, the way the body mounts, that way it drops more. But for now on, that's what I'm doing, because after that I'll have to start spending more money on it. So that'll be good enough for now. But what I was just doing here is I got the jack out, and I found an even spot on the chassis, and I have this app. So when I jack it, the chassis is going to level out, and this is going to tell me when it's perfectly level. What I'm curious to see is if it looks level. As you can see, it comes down and then it ends up going up. So what's it at now? 1.3. The jack stopped working. Alright, so it's 0.9. Come on, a little bit more. 0.9, 0.7. So maybe 1, 2, 3. 0.0 or 0.1. Now it's uneven a little bit this way. I'm thinking it's probably having to do with the tires. I probably got a clump of dirt under that one or something. The mounts on that front end are offset. So basically the bearing rails from the unibody came in the front end, and then it came out to the second mount on either side. So basically what my dad was saying was to take the metal and then bend it so you can bolt it to the frame. But what I'd rather do is just have the straight rail, have the one bolt mount in the rail, and then have it come out, and then make another mount for on the side for the other. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. That might change, I don't know, but I have a lot to go over. I have a lot of measurements to make and whatnot, and I might have to put the body on the frame just to or you know what, no, I have my mounts here, so I'll just measure from the whole of the body, and then I'll factor it in. I'll take some cardboard and tape it to represent the body and everything else. But yeah, so the next time I upload a video, it'll probably be this rear. I'll probably be doing something with that. If not, maybe I'll find something else to get into. But yeah, I have LeBaron stuff everywhere. I was gonna put everything in the rafters, but that's a lot of work to do that. Some of these bins are heavy, especially the one. Yeah, I have one filled with nothing but engine components and firewall crap. I'm getting pretty excited for all this. I mean, now that the front end is cleaned up and painted, and I have that disgusting rail which I hacked off, it's possible. I got that feeling like, wow, this is actually gonna happen. Not that I didn't have that before, but it's just like, it's different when you start a project, and from what I started with to what it is now, and it's like, wow, reality just hit me, and I might have a rat rod. If you watched the last video, I had welded braces to the unibody frame sections that were on the front end. So I welded them, I made sure they're nice and even, and the reason I did that was because they'd be supports to where if I unbolted the frame sections, they wouldn't get warped and like go out of place. So I figured I'll weld two bed rails across, that way they'll be even and all, they'll stay true. And then I went to take it off, and as I was taking it off, I noticed two things. One, the whole bottom of the one rail was completely rusted, so there'd be no point in using that. And two, I couldn't even get it off anyway the way it was, because it goes wider towards the back where it connects to the actual body, because it's unibody. So I couldn't get it off. The only way you'd be able to get it off is if you undid the suspension, and I didn't feel like doing that. So I was like, you know what, I'll just get the metal and I'll make a new front end for that. I'll make the new frame rails for that front end to bolt on. The wheelbase doesn't need to be the same as it was in the LeBaron. What needs to be the same is the distance between the rear and the motor. Reason being is I don't want to have to pay to get a drive shaft lengthened or shortened. I just think it's easier that way. Plus, I kind of like the look of the suspension sitting in front of the motor rather than the motor on the suspension, and I like the long rat rod. So I think it's perfect, because not only is something, it's not like I have to adapt to that idea. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Is it doesn't bother me, and I kind of prefer it anyway. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. And it should be easy. I mean, these are, it's like a C channel. It's not boxed. It's just like a C. But I think I'll just get the rectangle box tubing and get it exactly the same size. And the front of this is gonna have to come up. I'm gonna have to measure and decide where it's gonna come up, but basically the frame's going to have to come up and then go over and attach to that front end, because if not, the ride height's going to be the same as the LeBaron, but instead of making suspension modifications, I'm just going to modify the frame, so that's going to actually sit higher than here, right here, and that'll drop it nice and low. Hopefully when I do everything to the rear, that'll be nice and low, and then I'll take it from there. When I get a rolling chassis going, that's like the first goal. If I can get that, oh my God. Because if I can walk out of my house and come in the garage and see the Bronco body sitting low on a chassis, I don't care if there's no motor in it or anything, I'll be fucking happy with that. Because it's just like, if you build like a structure of some sort, when you get the framing up, it's something to be happy about, and you take pride in that, and you know, like, that's the first step, but still you got past it, and usually when you get that far, you're going all the way. So I'm pretty happy about this.